exalting the melody of freedom. These are the things that will bring it down, 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 down. So gather the faithful, tell everyone to stand and shout loud, shout loud, shout loud. Let's bring it down. Let's bring it way down. Let's bring it down. Let's bring it down, down. Let's bring it down. Let's bring it way down. Let's bring it down. Let's bring it down, 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 down.
Let me tell you, it's in the air. Joy is in the air. Love is in the air. Can you feel it? What it feel like? Freedom. What it feel like? Don't sleep on it, brother. You might get left, sister. Can you feel it? What it feel like? Freedom. What it feel like? Justice. No need to be counted, cause I am down. Down, down, down. Down, down, down. Down for the end of racism, for the end of bigotry, cause I am down. For the end of misogyny, that's right. For all the isms out there, just down, down, down. Let's bring it down. Rise up, people. No more foolishness, and let's bring it way down.
Riding the river of change into the cries of contrition. This is the way that we bring it down, 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 down. Down, down, down. We are the children of Eden, dancing and celebrating freedom. We are the ones that must bring it down, 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 down. Down, down, down. So gather the faithful, tell everyone to stand and shout loud, shout loud, shout loud. Let's bring it down. Let's bring it way down. Let's bring it down. Let's bring it down, down. Let's bring it down. Let's bring it way down. Let's bring it down. We've got to bring it down, down. Stand up and shout, stand up and shout. Rise
Accountability
together.
starts now. The Eric Dawson Radio Show.
Yeah. Rise up, stand up, shout it loud.
If you are not prepared to come to that table and to represent that voice, don't come. Because we don't need any more brown faces that don't want to be a brown voice. We don't need black faces that don't want to be a black voice. We don't need Muslims that don't want to be a Muslim voice. We don't need queers that don't want to be a queer voice. And if you're worried about being marginalized and stereotyped, please don't even show up.
Second, because people are going to start screaming and hollering. I can't hear you.
I can't hear you.
There we go. There we go.
Good morning.
Good morning, everybody. So, Diane, you said don't forget what?
Don't forget want to give a shout out to GNEC, which is the Greater Newark Essex. I forget. I'll tell you what the acronym is. In the Urban League, they're doing training on being an entrepreneur.
Oh, Diane,
And
wasn't that amazing last night?
yes, it's a free program, and it's great whether you're thinking about starting a business, have already started a business, or at the beginning stages of a business.
But
Great.
but the information was phenomenal. The guy who I forgot his name, who is responsible for it, is doing an extraordinary job, right? I was just super impressed. It was funny, right? Because I've been in this space, I've done it, and I've actually talked about it with folks. So to listen to him go through it, was just very interesting, right? So, my hope is, that people take heed, right? That they pay attention to it, because there's a tremendous amount that they can learn from it. The piece that he spoke about, and I think it resides somewhere. I think they recorded it, so it may be on YouTube or something. But when he was talking about ideas as a entrepreneur and getting validation, that's important, right? And not validation where you look and say, I like it, I think it's a great idea, let's roll with it. But validation through consumer want, right?
Their problem.
Yeah. You know what? See, I was going to disagree with him in some respect, because sometimes I don't think it's about solving a problem always, right? Sometimes it is. Sometimes it's about finding a void in the market,
But that's still solving a problem. I mean,
No.
think about it. If you can't solve a person's problem, then why do they need you?
No. Well, I'm gonna answer that. So if I come up with a new ice cream, right, just a new brand, you go into the supermarket, right, in the frozen section, you'll see many brands. I'm not sure when Ben & Jerry's came out what problem they solved, right?
Variety.
No, I don't think it was
It's hard to tell.
right, but I don't.
Vanilla and called it French vanilla, or
Right, but I don't know that. Okay, and I don't want to strain gnats here, but I don't know that it was a problem, right? See, so I want to be clear, right? And this is why I didn't say anything during the session, because I didn't want to confuse people. But
oh my God, thank you. I appreciate you not doing that.
all right, so
Turning it into a debate.
well, I don't.
So hate the student that wants to debate.
Well, I don't know that it. Okay, but I just want to finish the thought though. But I don't think it's a debate, right? I think that it's important, because if people are always just coming up with something to solve a problem, and that's the criteria for which somebody starts a business, then I think that you lock a lot of people out from just being creative, right? So I'll give you. Let me finish what I was saying. So you have the guy who invented the piece that goes in between the car seat, right? So everybody drops money, or your phone falls out of your pocket in between your seat and your middle console, right? So I remember watching Shark Tank, and the guy came up with a piece that goes in the middle of that. That solves a problem. I don't know that Ben & Jerry solves a problem. I don't think if I come up with another flavor, it solves a problem.
Well, I think the problem solving is not just the product itself or the service provided. I think it's also the location in which it's provided. So maybe the Ben & Jerry's, and I don't know what their mission is or what their focus is for their business. Maybe they only go into certain areas, like Cold Stone in South Orange. They only are in certain demographics. You're not going to see a Cold Stone and cost of their service or their ice cream. South Orange is where they should be. So maybe that's the problem that they're solving. Not necessarily they're recreating the wheel.
Well, you have to finish this cliche for me, Eric.
I'm sorry?
Everything ain't for everybody. So problem solving is basically an opportunity. problem, then there are a lot like it. And that gives you an opportunity to make a product, invent a flavor, or do something different that people get a level of variety. Now, it's not for everybody, but I'm going to tell you, when they came out with that Chunky Monkey, I was sold.
I'm not suggesting that you weren't sold, Vincent. I'm just trying to be careful. I'm just trying to be careful. I don't. So prior to Chunky Monkey, did you have a problem?
Yeah.
Now, see, I don't want to be argumentative now. It was so wait a minute. So wait a minute. So I'm saying that wait. So I'm saying that you were sitting there going, God damn it, I can't get any goddamn ice cream that I like. Is that where you were, Vincent? Stop it. See,
no,
right,
that
exactly.
wasn't the problem.
So
Eric,
go ahead.
Let me answer the question before you give my statement. The problem that I had was that I was tired of the same ice cream and the same flavors by the same manufacturers. So
what year did that happen, Vincent?
Huh?
What year did that happen?
That's what I'm saying. See, I just think sometimes they're just comments to argue for the sake of argument. So what is a problem? I mean, I really and I didn't want to spend a lot, but I'm talking about a problem. And so you're
Business, for instance, Eric, I started an insurance agency because we didn't have enough agencies of people that looked like us that were doing service.
But that's a problem. Like, now, I say that is a problem, right? I think that people who have not about Eric's world, right? I think that I just want to be careful, right? I want to go back and I want to start with this, right? As a brand manager, right? As a former global marketing expert, right? And so I'll lay all of my bona fides on the table at this point, and I'll say that I think that he was wrong in saying that the only time you should be looking to start a business is if you're solving a problem. I think that is wrong.
Okay, so maybe the choice of words by saying only, it was wrong. And maybe that's what you got stuck on and it threw you off. So
yes.
I would be corrected.
Because let me ask you a question. So if you decide to make some socks, just all the freaking socks that are out there in the world, and you just decide that you're gonna go into business and make some socks, are you solving problems or are you just making socks?
Yes.
Oh God, Vincent. What is the problem you're solving, Vincent? What is the problem, Vincent?
Oh, Eric, again.
Because I'm getting annoyed now. Go ahead. Tell me what the problem is. Because you don't even know what the goddamn kind of socks I'm talking about. So how do you even know that it solves a problem?
Well, I was going to explain a solution that happened in socks that's doing.
No, I'm not talking about your specific thing. I'm saying if the generic person decides that they want to go out and start selling socks, and they go to a manufacturer, get some generic socks, are they solving a problem? Or did they just enter into a crowded market to try to sell some socks?
They enter into a product market to just sell socks.
Right, that's my point.
Now, if I could, one of the things about selling and opening your business is that you have to have some level of difference that would separate you from the generic brand.
Well, not always. And I disagree with that too.
Hence for bumpers.
I disagree with that too. It's called a right? It's called a differentiator, right? I get it. He talked about that too, but I completely disagree with that. I think that you can. I'm gonna tell you why. Because I'm gonna tell you why. You can go and create and have a product that's like everybody else's, and if your marketing is just like everybody, your product is just like everybody else's, and if your marketing is more ingenious than theirs, if you have deep enough pockets to advertise, you can overtake that market. So when you simply say that, you can't start a business unless you're differentiating. You can't start a business unless unless you're solving a problem. I'm vehemently now disagreeing with that.
I'm gonna give you an example, and we'll go back to the socks. So I'll give you an example. So you said that black socks is the thing for you. It solves your problem because you don't want to have to go through the drawer and pull out.
No, black socks don't solve my problem. Buying the same pair of color socks, so I could buy all blue, or I could buy all green, or I could buy all purple, right? So it's not the right. So the color isn't the. That's right. There we go.
Okay, so the color of the sock is what helps you. That's your problem. That's their sock.
No, not the color of the sock. The fact that I buy. No, it's not. Whatever.
I think he's just being argued.
No, I'm not.
No, Vincent. Whatever it is that the reason that you buy the socks is the reason that it solves your particular problem. Okay? So there are socks that don't have toes. So for women, that's perfect and it solves the problem.
I agree with that. I'm not disagreeing with that. I'm saying that you can start a business where you are solving a problem. But I think you can also start a business where there is no problem. That's all I'm saying.
But your profit margin is increased when you are solving.
I'm gonna disagree with that. How do you know that, Vincent? How do you know that?
How do I know that?
Yes.
Because that's the reason I buy Go-Toe socks. Because they solve a problem that I have with socks.
That's you, Vincent. But that's you and your anecdotal stuff again. I'm saying give me data.
Too, because you only buy one particular sock.
No. But I'm not focusing in the micro. I'm talking you said that generally speaking that you have wider profit margins when you're solving problems. How do you know that? Now, we're not talking gold-toe socks now.
And he solved the problem of socks always falling down or socks not slipping into the toe by reinforcing around certain areas. He is now the leading sock manufacturer of people who have been selling generic socks for years.
Right.
So it does increase your product margin.
Right. No. Wait. It increased his. It increased his profit margin, Vincent. But I can give you 15 cases. That's not. Wait. See, because you don't listen. You didn't hear what the frick I said. I said it increased his. See, you don't even listen, sir. I'm saying it increased his. No, I did not. No, I did not. So now let's use the 2 ears, right? And so what I'm saying to you is, yes, it increased his, but I can give you 15 businesses that did not solve a problem, entered into a crowded market, and they have massive profit shares. And so now what would be your answer to them? So all I'm saying again,
my answer to that, Eric, is let's put those who do the common sock the same.
No, we're talking about a sock, Vincent. No. This I don't understand the no thing. What I'm saying to you is this: why are you fixating on a sock? But why are you fixating on socks? There are a multitude of products and services that are currently being sold in the consumer market. I'm not fixating on socks. I'm saying generally speaking, products and services do not have to solve problems to be profitable. They can just be. And so for that gentleman last night to say that the only reason, I'm emphasize, the only reason you should start a business is if you're solving a problem, that is false.
I agree with him. Because whether it's a new problem or a old problem that has been consistent, it is a problem. And people cannot make money and they can have a business and start it, but it's not helpful. Maybe the word should be helpful to some other people as opposed to solving a problem. Then it's not going to go anywhere. It's just a hobby.
Correct. So that's what he's saying, and I agree with
you. I'm glad we had this. Are currently in business and want to advance their business and learn some more techniques, they should tune in to GNEC. I will put the information in the feed. as well as the Urban League of Essex County North, who is sponsoring it, to give out free workshops. We're on the second of 4, and they last about an hour and 5 or 10 minutes. So, other than that, Eric, I think it was a great workshop.
Vincent, I'm going to see you after the show.
Yeah, both people y'all
Get in
mentioned.
line.
So,
In line.
it's something that you can really argue about. So we talked about it briefly before, and it's now come up again. There has been an article that was put out in the newspaper that a particular restaurant, I'm going to tell you the name of the restaurant, located in New Jersey, put up a sign in the window that stated, if you don't speak English, you will be charged $10.
Wow.
Right or wrong, who decides who should be speaking English? The official language in America is English, and there's been some controversy about saying that English is not the national language of the United States. But to be a citizen, you must speak and write in English. When you go to other foreign countries, you're expected to speak their language. Why not here? So, like I said, the shop owner, he's in Clifton, put up a sign that said, speak English or pay $10.
Good for him. No, I'm just.
Vincent, go ahead.
I think it's incredibly crazy because, I mean, why are you putting requirements on people to take their money? And I mean, that's another thing that he thinks he's solving problems, but actually he could be possibly losing business.
What problem is he solving? What problem is he solving?
Well, see, I can see the word solving a problem is going to be like saying Niagara to the trees.
They put it up, so that's why you said it.
No, he is addressing an issue of not understanding what people are saying.
So Feinberg, who is the owner of Cutter's Edge, a knife and blade sharpening shop. So they sharpen knives and blades on Lakewood Avenue in a largely Spanish and Arabic-speaking area, hung a handwritten note in the window out of frustration over the weekend, and never intended, he said, to actually charge customers, but he put the sign up there. Eric?
Well, look, I mean, this is what makes America America, right? That you know, you can do stupid things. You got people doing it every day, walking around without masks. So
Even after the news that blew up today.
Yeah. So you got people, who are who do stupid stuff. So he's allowed to be stupid. And what has to happen, Diane, is folks have to say, you know what, you're going to pay for your stupidity, right? We're not going to support your establishment. And I think that when people do that, then he may sing a different tune. But for now, he's being stupid. So
that he's requiring customers to speak English. We're in the United States. Everything in the United States, documents, court documents, signage, the education system is in English. Why wouldn't he expect his customers to speak or attempt to speak some sort of English? When we go to France, they expect us to speak French, even if we're bad at it. If we go to Germany, they don't adapt to speaking English to help us feel better. Why here should it be stupid that we don't require people to at least make the attempt to speak English? I mean, I have customers that speak really poor English. I make the adjustment to help and translate, but why don't they make the adjustment to translate into English?
Well, like I said, my opinion is that he has a right to say what he wants to say. It's his business. He has a right to do that. But he will suffer consequences. And
why should he suffer consequences?
Well, because just like he believes what he believes, there are some other people who have different beliefs. And those people, when they begin to exercise through their actions what their different beliefs are, and in America, that gives them the right to say that they're not going to patronize his establishment if that's the recourse that they choose to take.
regardless of what the language is in the country, it's okay.
No, what I'm saying to you, Diane, is that he can put a sign up that says whatever he wants to say. Well, no, that's not true. He can't put a sign up that says whatever he wants to say, but he could put that sign up, and he did, right? But people have a right to feel the way they want to feel about it, and there are going to be people who feel a certain way about it, and when they express their feeling about it, it may wind up affecting his bottom line, and then he's just going to have to deal with that.
Right. No, it'll definitely affect the bottom line. But I'm just trying to understand why, where everybody speaks English, is there a problem when I say I need you to speak English?
Oh no, I didn't. Well, I'm not saying that there is. For me, I don't care. I'm trying to learn Swahili myself. So.
Jumbo.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So the heck with it all. I'm trying to learn Swahili, and
I learned Swahili in the 10th grade.
There you go. See, so I'll be visiting Vincent, and Vincent will teach me Swahili.
Yeah, I can tell you. I can show you how to get slapped by a woman in Swahili. That's about it.
Oh no, I'm not trying to go that route. But
okay. Oh, by the way, in terms of different United States Patent Office and everybody bringing out a product that solves or is different from everyone else, there are 14 million different patterns for a mousetrap alone.
Do you hold on to things and never let go like a pit bull, Vincent? Or have you learned in your older age when to move on?
So wait a minute. I want to stay with this. Explain what your point is there.
The point is that one of the things the cliche is this: if you build a better mousetrap, the world is your oyster. There are 14 million different ways of just catching a mouse or killing a mouse. So there are people trying to build better.
So here's the interesting thing, right? And where'd those patents go? 14 million of them.
Well, let's see. Some of them are.
No. Well, 14 million. No, 14 million. I'm not talking about the one or two that are working. The 14 million or the 13,999,982. Where are those? Right? Those are in the shitter, right? And you know why they're in the shitter? Because somebody told those people, no. Somebody told those people that, see, the way you become successful is by creating something that is different. And I'm saying that's one way. There's another way too. But they took that one narrow path and that 3,999,982 that are in the shitter shouldn't have listened to 13 million. I'm sorry, shouldn't have listened to that guy. Because I'm saying, see, Vincent, you caught me on 4 cups of coffee this morning. I'm telling you.
It's Christmas. Okay.
You know what? Speaking of Christmas, I was in Costco. Do you know they got Christmas trees?
Yeah.
Wait a minute. They have just bypassed Halloween.
Well, they know because of COVID, many people are canceling or will not be doing trick-or-treating.
You know what?
The curve. They're forward-thinking.
That's true.
Think about it. Is the largest holiday that you make the most money off of. Halloween ain't.
You know what? I mean, this is sad. It is sad.
Christmas is on a short timeline this year as well, so they need to get their products out early.
So with that said, Amazon is now hiring 30,000 new employees on September the 16th, which is next week, which is my birthday. They're going to have
Happy birthday.
They're going to have a career day where they're going to be hiring 33,000 new job openings for corporate and tech roles. They're going to have their job training, like I said, on the 16th, a career day. All of the new employees for those roles will be paid at least a minimum of $15 an hour, up to 20 weeks of parental leave. Employees who fill the corporate and tech roles will receive an average salary of $150,000, stock-based commission, and benefits. So, who's going to be ready for those $150,000 jobs? What do those people look like? Will they speak English?
Diane, leave my non-English speaking people alone. Do you hear me? Diane, do you hear me?
And you were talking to me about let's go?
Exactly. That's why I did it. That's specifically why I did it.
Okay.
Leave my non-speaking English people.
I love diverse people, but I know when I was with friends, they were like, bonjour. They ain't say nothing in English. They weren't trying to translate my menu or none of that.
Diane,
Same thing when I was in Hawaii.
Diane, leave my non-speaking English people alone. I'm not gonna ask you again, Diane.
Gino Cheesesteaks in South Philly posted a sign in the 90s, if you can't speak English, get out of the line. And it went national.
Interesting.
No.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, so people were taking this very seriously. But let's look at those.
Frustration. It comes from frustration. That's all it is. The frustration of people not making the attempt to speak the language of the place of which they're at. It's frustration, and that's the reason why French people think it's rude when we come here and don't make an attempt to even speak the language.
Leave my non-English speaking people alone.
So anyway, Amazon.
Parlez-vous français?
No. That's all you get. No.
Wait, but you say no with an accent, right?
No.
No. With a nasal accent. I love it. All right, what else is going on?
Local speakers in general.
So 250,000.
I think Vincent just sneezed.
Well, Gesundheit is German.
There you see. There you go.
See, we all must make an attempt.
We all must make an attempt.
50,000 COVID-19 infections from Sturgis. Made up numbers, says the South Dakota governor. He states that in other corona news, the pandemic has forced many Americans to quit their jobs in Los Angeles and cancel trick-or-treating. But the governor in South Dakota on Wednesday disputed the economists who say that the motorcycle rally that happened in Sturgis last month may have caused 250,000 coronavirus infections, saying they just made up those numbers and published them.
Denial is not just a river in Egypt. The problem that people have is a lot of people go through extreme measures just to spin when they do something wrong. Or when they've seen something wrong. Everybody knew that they shouldn't have did it. We talked on this show back in February that the president knew about this virus in November, and nobody said anything, or nobody took it serious. Now people are trying to spin believing or drinking the Kool-Aid and saying that, oh no, this is made up. Oh no, this is fake. Oh no, all those people didn't contract the virus. Come on, people. The United States is 4% of the world's population, but we have 25% of the world's cases with this virus. When are we going to stop this bullcrap? Let's just admit that, you know what, we believe the failed ideology. We handled this wrong. Now let's do a national plan to get this thing done.
But that's not going to happen, Vincent, because it's politicized. So I mean, come on. I mean, seriously, right?
Politicized and emotionalized on both ends.
Oh, no doubt. I'm not suggesting otherwise. I'm saying that it has been politicized. And because of that, it's, we're not going to get anywhere.
See, one of the reasons I left the Republican Party is because all the bullcrap that was going on, and when I started talking to people, they were telling me I need to hold the party line. No.
Left and you weren't kicked out?
Huh?
Can we confirm if you left or were kicked out? How can we
know? You can confirm that.
Wait a minute, how can you get kicked? Wait a minute, you can't get kicked out of Republican Party.
Exactly.
How do you get kicked? Wait a minute, Diane. Diane, see, Vincent, I can't even believe that you took her seriously when she said that. You actually started explaining.
I did take her seriously. Okay, you gaslight me. Okay, okay, appreciate it. No worries.
I'm like, how do you get kicked out? Who is the arbiter of the Democratic Party that looks and says, yeah? Who do you call? When it's time to kick somebody out of the party.
On the Board of Elections, and they changed that R to a D.
Okay.
It's for copy as proof that you've been removed.
You've been removed from the party. No, I still.
Wait a minute. What was the movie with Keanu Reeves? The one, John Wick. Do you remember? Wait. What did they say? Your something has been canceled, and then they kill you off. Yeah.
Oh yeah, he was an assassin.
That's absolutely right. So, all right, but yes, you can't be removed from the party. You can leave the party, but you can't be.
You can be excommunicated.
You can be excommunicated and shunned.
Well, you can be shunned, but anyway, go ahead.
So, New York City, Governor Cuomo has stated on Wednesday that restaurants will resume indoor service September the 30th at 25% capacity, with other safety precautions in place. First of all, the restaurants in New York are so damn tight. How do you know what 25% is? That's like one person in the restaurant?
Yo, I was down at the beach yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
And in the restaurant, there were 3 people in the entire restaurant. Now, on the outside, there were a bunch of people. So Corona was outside. But inside... Yo, Diane, I smelled it. You can smell Corona. Am I just being... I'm telling you. Yo, you can... Look...
You and my husband are both crazy.
Corona was in the air.
I was driving down the street the other day and I was sitting at the light and somebody was walking by. I had the window cracked. I said, ooh, that's Corona.
Yo, Corona was in the air.
That's because of you two, y'all.
No, Corona was definitely in the air. I smelled it. Vincent's like, hey, listen. I can't describe what it smells like, but when you smell it, you'll know it's Corona. Trust me.
Yeah. Governor Cuomo said that he's going to be enforcing the rules. He has ultimately provided 400 inspectors to work alongside the state compliance task force. Restaurants will be required to post their capacity outside alongside a phone number for reporting violations. So you're going to get dimed out if I don't get a table. Future indoor dining depends on the city's infection rate. If it goes up, indoor dining will be paused again. If it does not, the capacity may increase to 50%. There's a November 1st deadline to reassess the capacity restrictions. New York City has positivity rate of 0.7%. Mayor de Blasio said that the city will immediately reassess if the numbers hit 2%. So there you go.
Listen, I'm telling you.
People are fighting to it. So what's crazy is, so listen to what you just said, Eric. People don't want to wear masks. They want to be out amongst people. But you said there were only 2 people sitting in a restaurant and everybody was sitting outside. So they're believing it, but they're like these risk takers that are like, yeah, but no. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
But we talked about that though, right? We talked about the people who were gonna go out, those who were gonna stay home, and those who were gonna just watch people like just die because they like. So you got the ones who are gung ho. They're like, Geronimo. They just jump off the cliff, right? Then you got the ones who climb up the mountain, watching the ones who jump off the cliff and impale themselves, and then you watch the ones who at the base of the cliff, right? Watching the people climb the mountain, watching their expression as the ones who jump off the cliff and impale themselves. And so you have people impaling themselves, you have people watching them impale themselves, and then you have those who are watching the people impale themselves. That's what's going on right now.
it's a hot mess. Yeah. Oh, New Jersey Transit leadership should be fired, the commuter said. The senator has many questions of their mandate, and they said that several commuters went for the calling of the New Jersey Transit CEO, Kevin Corbett, and Transportation Commissioner Diane Cortez Sarachi, and I know I'm killing her name, who's also a board chairman, should resign because significant progress has not been made during the 3 years that they have been in charge. In fact, they're talking about, again, increasing the tolls everywhere. Not only New Jersey Transit, for Port Authority going into the city, I mean, everything. So what are your thoughts? And it's funny that they're increasing everything when the ridership has been decreased. So, and they're still making a profit. And what they say is that the board is a failure of accountability. Now, with the New Jersey Transit as well as Port Authority,
I like the way you say. I like the way you enunciate it. Port Authority. Authority.
What should I say?
Well, I don't know that I pronounce it.
What do you
It's supposed to be Port Authority. See, when I say Port Authority, I say D, almost like D, right? You say you pronounce, you enunciate
Port
properly.
Authority.
Port Authority, and I should learn to do that. I say Port Authority
So she has better
for my non-English speaking people.
Let it go, let it go.
I'm taking back your passport and stamp it.
Hey, take my passport and my black card, Diane. But we'll talk about that later.
That's black card.
Yes, I'm giving that up too.
Because you said that black card. Here we go, local news. And
Oh boy.
And so we talked about.
Oh boy.
Black Lives Matter signs, street signs, as well as painting Black Lives Matter on the street, has both been done in Hillside. Somebody had skidded over the Black Lives Matter on the street, literally 2 days afterward. And the sign that was put up, apparently and the council person, George Cook, who raved about the sign being out there next to City Hall and taking a picture of it, talking about how good it is now upset because the mayor, who was also a black woman, has taken the sign down. And I applaud her. Thank you for taking the sign down, because my question to George Cook, the councilman, is what laws have you put in place that go along with this sign? And he still has done nothing except say that we put together a committee.
Wait a minute. So wait 1 second. So let me ask you this again. So there was a sign that the town put up, and
Somebody put it up, not by the approval of the mayor. So someone put it up. So the police department put it up.
oh wait a minute. Oh, so the mayor did not approve it.
Yeah. Well, apparently, because she took it down.
Well, listen. Doesn't mean that she didn't approve it. I mean, she could have reversed course. That's all.
Okay. Yeah, that's true too.
So she agreed that Black Lives don't matter?
I didn't agree with that. What does a sign have to do with a life not mattering?
It has nothing to do with it. I was just wondering why she took it down after putting it up.
Because she realized that it was just, I don't know. Why she take it down, Diane?
No reason given. Don't know. Don't care. Glad it's gone. Does it reflect anything? It's a sign. It's the same as when you rename a street after the person that lived on the street forever because they did community service. It only matters to that family and to the people that know that person. New people that come to the block don't know who that person is. They're still trying to figure out whoever it is. So it really has no significance behind it if it doesn't have legislation to hold it, to uphold it.
Okay.
And us to continue to think that symbols of signs and pain are going to be a part of a victory is clueless to what a victory really looks like.
This is what I would say. Much like when, after conquering them, right? After doing the work, after having the fight, the good fight, then they erected monuments, right? But while you still have the oppressor's knee on your neck, how do you believe having a street, right, is doing anything? Having a street named after you. See, once you conquer, but this is the people don't want to do any work, Diane. You understand what I'm saying to you? Nobody wants to do any work. They just expect that, that those who have oppressed them for centuries, them and their ancestors before them, that somehow they're going to just be benevolent and, and that's going to lead to some impactful change for them. And it's just not the case. So go and win the day, right? Conquer, right? Vanquish the enemy. And then erect Black Lives Matter. But don't drive your kids to failing institutions, right? And then tell me that you believe that Black Lives Matter.
Well,
don't do that.
That they're not driving them to the failing institutions, but the failing institution is coming into their home. They're starting to recognize that their students or kids are not getting what they're supposed to be getting, whether it's resources or Chromebooks, whether it's additional help from your teachers, whether the teachers are being supported with services. That's a big problem too. So in Hillside, there was also concern that students who had IEPs, which is I forget what the acronym is, but have IEPs or need assistance in education in any way, whether it's because of a disability or a learning disability or whatever, are being charged for care services, which is illegal. So their aides who are necessarily may not be in the home with them, or when they would have been with them in school, are still being charged with the use of an aid for the building to be open. Now, where do they do that at? How do you charge people for a service that if they were in the building, they would still be getting that service provided by the school and not being charged?
That's right. That's the same thing that we spoke about 2 days ago. So they need to do some fundamental adjustments with their budget and with their charging and with their services. Also, parents are now are forced to take an active role in their children's education rather than relying on teachers. And teachers now, because parents are paying attention, have to deliver. All this craziness that we've had and that has led and contributed to the failing of our school systems should end now.
So then there's issues in the city of North that people have been posting on Facebook about unruly students being in the virtual learning. What do you do? How do you control them? Do you turn the monitor off? Like, what is going on? How does a teacher control a class when you have other students in the class, the virtual class, that are acting up? My thing is turn the camera off. You don't want education. You didn't come here for education. You came here to be a distraction. But see, now more people are seeing what the teachers are also experiencing on a small level, because what they're experiencing in person in the school wants to be there to learn.
That's right. And they should get some mute buttons and start turning some of these kids off. I mean, because they are a distraction. They've always been a distraction. I mean, you look at one of the reasons that charter schools are becoming popular in the black community is because their parents can get their kids to some place where if a child is a distraction, they can be removed and sent back to a public school.
Well, the charter school, I initially started, yes, of course. Parents wanted to have their kids in a smaller setting so that they can really learn and not be distracted. What charter schools have done, and we talked about this before, is their enforcement of how they punish a child. How they punish a child is not conscionable. So that's a problem. However, the smaller settings, yes, that's what kids need. That's what our kids need. Because there's so many other distractions in the world that they're going through. They need that small setting to really learn.
And it's been talking to a few teachers. After they deal with the distractions in the room, they are worn out for the day. No more energy to give to your child, to give your child a proper education. So yeah, I think that, and then one of them, and then the other thing is that the biggest kids, the biggest distractions in the school have the most rowdiest parents ever.
Well, I don't know.
Who support that bad behavior.
I think it's a 50-50 shot sometimes. The other thing is, so you remove the child out of the classroom or out of the virtual learning as being a distraction, and I'm not talking about once in a while distraction. I mean, this is a continuous, ongoing, everyday thing. Here this child comes again. So you remove the child out that situation, and you put that child in another class, virtual class, with a bunch of other kids that are doing the same thing. They're not learning either. Also, the school system doesn't have the capacity to continue to even dilute that class out, because maybe those behavioral issues that those kids may be having, they may need a one-on-one, or they may need a 5-on-1. So how does a school have the capacity to do that when they didn't have the capacity to do it when it was in person? On top of all of the teachers that are retiring or leaving the school system because they don't want to do the virtual learning. And I think it's because they're not capable of doing the virtual learning. And not only are they not computer literate, they are just not as good as a teacher as they thought they was. And they know they're not a good teacher, so they can no longer be a babysitter.
Right. And that I agree with that. I agree with that 100%. Because good teachers, I've noticed some of the good teachers have stepped up to the challenge and teaching their children virtually. The bad teachers are complaining because they want to get back to the school where they can hide being a bad teacher. This one, teachers have to show results.
Yeah.
You can't blame it on anything else but yourself and your abilities. And like I said earlier, it's time that they stand up, and we get to expose some of the reasons why our school systems have failed. And one big point is bad teachers.
So the thing that's good about virtual learning is parents who really care about their kids can really see how their child and other kids are interacting in the class and how a teacher is really teaching, because this is better than having a camera monitor or the kids videotaping something.
Well, one of the things that I think it's going to show too, right, is this. The phrase you use, parents who care about their kids or about their children. It's going to show which parents care about their children, right? I conclude, and I know I'm probably going to get beat up for it, that a lot don't. They don't show up, and the excuses stop. Stop with the excuses. The excuses are, well, this one works 2 jobs, or they work 3 jobs, they can't make it to blah, blah, blah. My parents made it. They made it. My mother worked in a warehouse. She worked for Westinghouse when it was in Newark. Then she worked for another warehouse. Then she worked for General Motors. She worked the graveyard. She worked every single shift at General Motors. And if there was something that I had going on at school, that's what she reserved her days for, to be able to come and check in on me. My dad had a very busy schedule, flying across the country as the president of the Board of Education and as the chief of staff to the first black mayor of a major city. But he made sure that he was at my parent-teacher conferences and all the other things that they needed to be at. So the idea that you can have a student whose parent never makes it, Not talking about occasionally, never makes it. I just don't think that a lot care. I remember when I think I told you I worked at Cleveland Elementary School in Newark, and I remember before there's an Applebee's, Diane. The Applebee's right on the corner of Bergen Street, and
school.
I'm sorry.
You never told me you worked at the school. What
Yeah,
did you do?
yeah. So hold on for 1 second. Call it, please hold. There's just 1 second. But you know the Applebee's that's right there, Diane,
Yeah.
right on the corner. Well, that used to be an empty lot, and I used to have to go out. This is true story. I would have to go out to that empty lot and grab the parents or the guardians of some of the kids at Cleveland Elementary School because they were huddled around those garbage cans with stuff burning inside of them, drinking Wild Irish Rose and whatever else they were drinking, cussing up a storm. And these were the guardians and or parents of these of some of these kids, and I'd have to go out there and get them, to have them come in to deal with their family. And then I remember when I had my children and we moved up into the suburbs, watching. I remember first time I had to go to a parent teacher conference, right? Very first time, and I showed up 3 minutes late. I had to park about 5 or 6 blocks away from the school, Diane, because the parents were all there, like literally, and it taught me right then and there, like, oh shoot, you got to be on top of it. Like I was going, but I was a little on CP time. You understand what I'm saying? Then you realize, oh, don't have like a one of your kids in like a school play or performance. You got to get there an hour early.
Yep.
Because if you don't, there's no parking spaces and there's nowhere to sit. I'm telling you. Now, go to these schools in urban America. You could hear a pin drop in the auditorium because there are no parents or guardians there, very few. You could roll up on parent-teacher night half an hour late and get a parking space right in front of the school. These are facts. So when you said that the parents that care, I'm saying this is going to shake the tree, and we're going to see the parents who really care. Call or go.
Hey, good morning, everybody. I'm just curious, Eric. Do you think the word is care or know how to rate?
No, I'm gonna say no. I'm gonna say nope. I'm gonna say nope. I'm gonna say care, because you know what? Some of these same trifling parents know how to care for their nails, right? Know how to care for their pedicure, know how to care for their hair. They know how to care for. They pay close and detailed and copious attention to all of those things, Farrakhan. You see, and for the men,
check it. They do that with the kids too. That's what I'm saying, right? They know how to buy their kids a $100 pair of Jordans. They know how to get them the Xbox. They don't know how to raise children. They don't, and there's a difference there, right? There's a difference in understanding what it takes to be a parent and just being, right? And I find that from my experience of seeing people and having to deal with these very same parents and listening to them. I listen to these parents every day in the barbershop. I deal with them. And I see parents that cannot raise the child. They don't know how to raise the child, right? And I don't know if because somebody
right, but that's what I'm saying. They don't. So
I don't want to say it's not care.
But I don't think that there's a difference, right? You don't know how to care.
They care enough. They care enough. They don't the $80 tourist. They care enough to get their daughters hair braided at the African babies. But what they didn't do is they don't have enough to read a book while they're sitting in their hair, getting their hair braided for 8 hours. Instead, they're letting them watch the WAP video. You understand what I'm saying? They don't know how to raise children. That's what I'm seeing.
And he's not. I don't disagree with him. I mean, there are parts that he is absolutely right. We deal with parents who are children themselves, and haven't reached that level of maturity to understand that this is a being that you were blessed to have into this world, and that the primary care, responsibility, and growth and direction of this child is solely your responsibility. And they're still in their childish things where they believe that caring and love is buying and giving, and not nurturing and developing. So yeah, I agree with 100%. But on the other aspect is, because that's a whole new show. In my opinion, is that we deal with that in terms of the black conditions, where we had younger parents, but one of the older parents would take them under their wing and talk to them about how to, take better advice or some help to them. They cuss you out or even pull their gun out.
Yeah.
So where do we go?
Yeah, I don't want to get into parsing words. I don't think that they. Well, I would say this then. I don't think they know how to care for. Right? They don't know how to care for. How to properly care for their children or those who are in their keepsake. And much like a person who doesn't know how to care for, plants or flowers or anything else, they die, right? And so, whether we're talking about, them dying a physical death, or whether they're dying inside. I remember my mother, I told this story 3 years ago in the show, when my son was like 3 years old. My mom lives in Irvington, and she used to take the 25 bus downtown. So Jules is now 19, and so he was 2 or 3 years old. Yeah, and so that was 16 years ago. So it was relatively safe, I guess, then to take the 25 downtown. And so she took the 25 down and would take Julian, and he enjoyed going on a bus. And one day she said she happened to look at him, like she was preoccupied with something, and she looked and she just saw this horror on his face, this look of horror on his face. And she turned around to see what he was looking at, and this woman was just abusive verbally and physically to her child, which was about the same age as Julian, and to keep him from seeing and hearing that. And she said she looked at that kid. She said it was the very first time that she saw this. She said, Eric, she said, in that moment I saw a light extinguished in this kid, just like no light, just void. She said, and then you look at, she said, I look at my grandchildren. She said, I looked at Julian, and you just see all the promise and the hope and everything, right, just exuding from him. And that's what I mean by the death. You look at some of these kids, and there is no hope in them. In them, I'm saying, like, when you look at them, there is a void. They have been so beaten down by these people who don't know how to care, how to properly care for them, that they are dying a slow and painful death on the vine called the hood. And it's a shame. And so again, through this whole COVID-19 thing, you're gonna see the ones who it's gonna be painfully clear, because they've been pushing it off on the school system, right, or pushing it off on the teacher, right? They haven't taken and owned responsibility for their badass children, disruptive and just rude and crass. They haven't taken responsibility for the weeds that they have allowed to just grow uncontrollably in the community, choking out any hopeful seeds. And so now they got to live with it, and we'll see. We'll see.
Well, let's take it a step further. Some of the reasons that we have parents who are bad actors is because they were bad. They had bad parents as well, and that brutality is all they tend to know. Share. But what we actually need is some people to be mature enough to now break the cycle, break the chain, to You can change your family's life and their trajectory just by you taking a stance and an active position in your children's lives. And, you know, it has to start somewhere, and it has to start with someone. So we need people to step up.
Yeah. Call it go.
Come on.
Hey, good morning, guys. I'm sort of dealing with a situation like that myself. I got a neighbor that in the middle of the night likes to start screaming all kinds of profanity. But, you know, not to talk against my neighbor. Oh, we just ignore him, blah, blah, blah. And he'll, you know, get drunk, he'll do this. But at the same time, psychologically, what he's doing to every kid that's in earshot is he's putting out the light, as Eric said, and totally messing with people's head. My son don't even want to open his window. So, but not to get too far into that, but you're right. But getting back to the education point, where we haven't yet to deal with the crack epidemic that plagued our community, and now we're 2 generations removed from that, of people who never really got involved in the education system to start, and now we're expecting, because of another pandemic, to expect these kids to grasp onto an online learning, and they were never even educated. Their parents were educated. The grandparents was in the struggle, in the pandemic struggle, and here we are going into one of the most disastrous pandemics of health, and yet we're looking at our school system to be perfect. These people didn't care to start. You know what I mean? We haven't even been prepared for that level of government failure, and now we're in another level, extreme level of government failure, and our school system is expect to be on par with people who are technically far advanced, and here we are stuck in the same mud of a pandemic. So when we start broad painting people on, oh yeah, they know how to get their nails, they know how to get the clothes. Yeah, those are distractions to keep them from environmentally looking at what's really going on around them. So that's all I wanted to add to the conversation. You guys have a great day.
Thank you. Guys?
I'm still here. I don't know if everybody else is.
Oh.
I'm here. I'm listening.
I'm here. I'm listening.
I'm brilliant.
But
Parents don't care. We don't know. They won't vote them in. They won't vote them out. What are we going to do with the parents? I don't think. All we can do is not have no more babies. That's all we can do. We can't help everybody.
But wasn't there a politician that everybody jumped on who said that black people need to be sterilized so that they don't have no more babies?
Well, I don't know about that because I'm not sterilizing anybody, but if you can voluntarily, if you want to be sterilized.
But hey, Vince, to that point, guys, I'm just curious. So I believe it's going to happen eventually, but should we be licensing people in order to have children? Should that just be anybody can have children? Like sometimes, like I know I've looked at people like that's a person that shouldn't be allowed to have. I've said it to myself 100 times. So I'm at a point where I'm like, though, we might need to get to a point, and I believe somewhere in the future it will happen. But we need to be able to say, nah, you can't have them, right? So you get your mind right, or get yourself together, right? Like we have to at some point start questioning. I know it's a natural right, but I don't know.
Well, we do actually. There was a big conversation in the 80s about licensing because everything in the United States, just about everything in the United States, requires some level of licensing and education. But what they ended up doing was putting people through parenting classes and licensing them for adoptions only. And the whole thing is they pretty much relied on the church to give people moral compasses and guidance and how to treat children and family members and so forth. But we look at not a great deal of society goes to the church or have a religious center or belief. So, I mean, and then we get to the point of how legislation sometimes can overreach. And as soon as you start talking to people about licensing, being a licensed parent, we get into the same fight that we have with people wearing a mask. It's a violation of my rights. If I can have kids, I can have kids. Who are you to tell me what to do? And I mean, that's a whole new rabbit hole.
Yeah.
But,
Okay.
But,
wait. We got to wait. Hold that. We got to call a caller. Go.
Real quick, ladies and gentlemen, I hear from senior citizens in both New York and New York. We have to be careful when we jump in someone else's shoes. It's dangerous to do so. Parents are now in the educator position. And my question to the last caller is, this virtual learning, is this a peek into Black America's educational preparedness? I do think that there are committed Black parents out there who will, but we have to encourage patience. Just as an example, for Newark, on math assessments from the state, it came in, we're at about 24.5%. And then for ELA proficiency, we're at 35% proficiency by state standards of the assessments. Now, that doesn't measure the students' full academic, that measures their academic skill testability, but it doesn't capture their experiential intelligence, which Vincent's touched on a few shows ago, and Eric's touched on it, and Diane. But my question is this the level up moment for Black parents? And
yes,
for the
it
last
is.
caller, is this a test, and do we have to meet the test, Eric?
Well,
Thank
it
you,
is.
Eric Farrakhan and everyone.
Thanks. And we have another caller, so I'm going to answer your question after we take this other call. Caller, go.
Oh, yeah, I had to call back in because eugenics is not the answer. That's not the answer. And to the other caller, yeah, it's time for people to step up. You might not have kids, but your neighbor's got kids. You retire, your kids long gone, the stuff you wouldn't put up for your kids, you better not put it up with it for other people's kids too, because some people are just in a position and where they are is not allowing them to stand up. So, yeah, we as a village have to level up or stand up or whatever my man chose to use.
Yeah, thanks.
And I agree, because this is the actual litmus test for Blacks to level up.
Right, but how do you level up? Right, but Vincent, see, here's the thing, right?
Eric, can I finish?
But I said I was going to answer he asked me a question.
Okay,
I said I was going to take the call, and I was going to answer the question. And so, I mean, I'm listening to what you're saying. I guess I just want to say, how do you take a group of people who are suffering from arrested development and ask them to level up? What is leveling up to them?
Well, one of the things in terms of leveling up is making sure that your child does whatever they are supposed to do and understand it proficiently. So leveling up in that aspect would be taking an active approach and stance and involvement in your child's education and development.
Oh gosh, Vincent, I think that listen, you are like the consummate optimist, right? But I'm looking at what I'm, dude. I'm looking at the community as it is, not as I want it to be, right? But truthfully as it is. And if they were of the mind that you believe they are, then the school system wouldn't be the way that it is. And so the fact that for decades now, and I say decades, when I was in middle school, the Newark school system was in the shitter. My father, who was the president of the Board of Education, as I was exiting the 8th grade, would not allow me to go to Weequahic High School because it was such a horrible school. Made me take the test to go to Science High School, which is now Science Park. Right? And so now, from then, that was 1976, 77. We're now in 2020. And the school system is still in the shitter. And so, go ahead.
I think what we really need is like a truth and reconciliation committee or somebody that is going to be in a position. We need to put ourselves in a position and have some truth and reconciliation about the education system, because I mean, what we are now is, as a community environmentally, is because it's based on a bottom line as opposed to what is really needed in the education system. You know, there's no tax equity in that system. It's just, they just need that over there, or they just need the bare minimum over there. They need the bare minimum over there. But the truth of it, and what we need to reconciliate with, is we need major repair. We need major repair, and it's exposed to as a community our failures educationally. And I'm just a truck driver, who am I? But a political scientist or anything like that. But that's where I think we need to go. That's my suggestion.
Yeah.
Okay, let's start with that. Here's the truth and reconciliation. The truth is our school system sucks. It's failed the majority of the children. The truth is that firing teachers have become more politicized and not cost effective. So it's cheaper to keep them there teaching, doing bad teaching skills, or being bad teachers and influencing our children negatively. The truth is, right now in 2020, we're in a COVID environment. So here's the truth. We are now rebuilding the education system from scratch. Here's the truth. For your child to be a disruption in a classroom where he's there all by himself is the sole responsibility of the parent to make that change. Here's the truth. When we look at this stuff and look at these children on these computers and see that the teacher is not doing a good job, we should step up. Here's the truth. It is now our time and our opportunity to make that drastic change in our children's lives.
Right. So all of what you said was what the previous caller said was it's time for us to level up. But I'm saying to you, and that's all leveling up, right? That's what that all is, doing everything that you just listed. But I'm saying they lack the ability because of the arrested development. See, you can't extract them from their current circumstance in hope that they're going to do something that they're incapable. I'm saying incapable of doing.
Eric, well, this is what I'm saying.
I heard what you said.
This is what I'm saying. I'm saying this. I'm tired of giving them excuses, free passes, and every way to explain their bad behavior. What I'm saying right now is that this is your child. This is our life. Be responsible. Stand up and shut up about the complaining. Shut up about the disadvantages and do what our parents did, who had far less.
Right, but there you go. Right, but I'm saying, but once again.
Far less.
But once again, Vincent, you are ignoring their current condition.
No, I'm not ignoring
sure you
the current
are.
condition, but I'm not letting the current condition stand in my way.
No, it doesn't have to stand in your way, but it is a thing that's handicapping them. Like it or not.
No. Eric, as we discussed with the other callers, there is no handicap except for what you allow to handicap you. There is none.
Okay. All right.
There's nothing.
I have to. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, that's just ridiculous. Vincent,
really good, but you lost me there.
Yeah, that's just ridiculous, Vincent. I mean, I think you have this pie in the sky. You have this pie in the sky, disconnected from reality view of how things should work. I'm saying
no, I'm not just. connected from reality, Eric, and I know the realities. I know the cruelty of it. I know that people.
All right, so you're saying that they should do it anyway?
No, what I'm saying. Let me quote Mother Teresa. There are tragedies that happen to people all over the world.
Right.
There are unspeakable and unmentionable horrors that take place to people all over the world.
Got it.
But also, what we have is the ability to overcome.
If we have an example to follow. So if you're talking about our parents and our grandparents were examples to us. When you moved into the 80s with the crime bill and these parents were removed out of the households, the examples fell by the wayside. So then you had great-grandparents raising kids, and they were tired. So if people don't have an example, they don't know what they need to do. They're only going by what they see. If media filters only in the negative of Black America, then that's what they see as what they achieve to do.
Yeah. Caller, go. Caller. Wait.
Hey, good morning, Eric. This is Will Hathaway from Orange. How's everyone?
Good.
Will. Well, how you doing, Vincent, my buddy? How are you, man? I'm all right, man. You know, I'm hearing this conversation about the schools in New Jersey, about parenting and all that. Listen, nobody brings the fact that our governor, okay, Phil Murphy, okay, has not provided inner city schools with the more funding for education in New Jersey. The white schools in the suburban areas, they get more funding than the black schools, to be honest with you. You know, so there's no conversation of flat funding, you know, during the pandemic time. Yeah, there. No, that was really well. I just want to say, but to that, you also have to remember that education in this country is based on your property tax. Right? Oh, I understand that, but I'm saying that the homeowners pay more property taxes than renters. I mean, I'm a renter too, and I pay income tax. You know, I'm considered a taxpayer citizen of New Jersey. Also, I'm just saying that. You know, I respect your viewpoint, Farrakhan, but our governor has not gave us enough funding as far as the urban schools. You know what I mean? I live in Orange. You know, our new superintendent has put Orange on a map as far as academically. The test scores have gone up. The transparency has gone up as far as, you know, he just did a superintendent's report the other night during the board meeting, which is held by Zoom. He got funding for COVID PPE items for the schools, which if they're not going to, whenever they're going to do the hybrid learning or the in-person learning, okay, and that's what it is. I mean, you know, if you have leadership on your board that advocates for the kids, then you're good. I mean, in Orange, we have an elected school board, and there's some chaos in-house that's happening within the board. Okay, I'm not going to go into it, but I'm saying as though, as far as the funding of these urban schools, you know, there's an instance where I went down with the former superintendent, Ron Lee, and a couple community people advocating funding for Cleveland Street School in Orange. Okay, now the construction is being done as of now. The kids at that school, okay, they had to sit on the floor for lunch to get lunch at one table. They didn't even have a proper gym or a proper lunch area just to have lunch. And that's what it comes down to our elected officials, our state elected officials, to get off their high horses and advocate for these kids in these urban communities. Because I went through public education, I didn't have the opportunity to go to a charter school. I can't say much because I'm not an educator, I'm not a parent. I'm just voicing my opinion about as far as flat funding for school districts that are in the city. Now, as far as Newark, New Jersey, Eric was speaking about, I don't live in Newark, New Jersey, but I follow the Newark issue as far as the school district coming out of state control. When Tammy Anderson was there, it was a whole bunch of chaos. Now the mayor down there, Ron J. Baraka, is trying, and the community is trying to get that it's hard in the inner cities when you don't have, the proper funding. The money is the key for inner city schooling. Because I went through the system. Eric probably went through the North school system, back in the day. But it's saying as far as now, it's during the pandemic. I mean, these inner school systems in the inner city are basically struggling. You can't consider the white kids to African Americans.
If I could.
Can I just say one thing real quick? That it is on purpose. We're having a discussion about something that the federal government did on purpose. We seem to be forgetting that. We forget that. Like you said, fair time.
Oh, no, I don't want to interrupt you. I don't want to interrupt you for what you're saying. I can't hear you. Your mic is breaking up.
Oh, can you hear me better now?
Yes.
I can hear you. Okay. Okay. So, 1965. I went through the inner city. I went through inner city education. I know what it's about. I got you. But understand, 1965, after we had Brown versus Lee. Brown
Board of Education.
Brown versus. I corrected myself. I didn't need you to do it. Thank you. Okay. That's when this started. That's when they changed how they funded full education, so that inner cities would not have the money to have the type of education needed. This is not an accident. We're talking about this like it is some kind of accident. It did not happen in a vacuum. There was an act passed. Okay, and that law passed, which is how we do it today. And that is the reason why. If we don't go to the very top of this country to fix the problem, we'll be at the very bottom with the problem. It is designed that way. This is why that we have an upcoming election, and everybody's asses need to get out and vote this president out. That's true. The bottom line, man.
But before we go down that rabbit hole, Will, none of those things in which you guys have discussed or talked about will have any effect on our children doing at-home learning with these computers. It does not rely on the budget. It does not rely in anything solely except for three things. The teacher's ability to actually get the message across and teach the children. The parent's ability to make sure that their children are learning properly. And the child's ability to stay attentive and focused, which relies again on the parent making them focus or getting them to focus. No. That's one of the biggest changes that we have to deal with right now. We can right now. Hold on, let me finish. What I'm saying right now, in this present condition, this new norm, we have the ability for our children to show their intellectual prowess and stop all the pity parties, all the moaning about their conditions and effects. I know when question. Let me just add this before you go further. It's nothing except for the pity party part. Nothing what you're saying is wrong except for all of that going into that rant. But what Bill and Farrakhan is talking about is tax equity. I brought that up earlier. If there is no tax equity, and it does, it's based on homes or whatever your tax, but we are not getting a return on our tax dollars for what we need. Other communities are getting a return on their tax. Hold on. He's right. Don't interrupt him. Okay. So from your perspective, it is what it is. But what I'm saying, I'm not saying that what you're saying is wrong, but that's what you were talking about. The shortcomings of the dollars, being able to accomplish the goals that the schools want to accomplish. That's all it touches. But hold on, it's not a pity party if people bring up these concerns. It's not something, you can't just shut up and dribble. You just can't shut up and just work your butt off. That ain't gonna get it. Somebody asked this question. Do you know of any training programs for these teachers to learn how to conduct a virtual classroom? Yes, there are three.
I haven't haven't heard. No, what I'm saying is, I haven't heard that the teachers say that in these last 6, 7 months, whatever that's now, that the Board of Education, that they are employed by, train them on how to conduct a virtual classroom so that they could control the children. I haven't heard that.
Yes, I can say to you with 100% certainty. Why? Because my wife is in the Camden School District, one of the poorest school districts out. In fact, their budget financially is $22 per child. Now, what they have done is put my wife and all the other teachers in 5 different classrooms to make sure that they are proficient in how to do virtual schooling, and training them. And you want to know the problems that my wife is having? Because I can tell you those too. The biggest problem that she's having is communicating with the parents. The biggest problem. And the other problem is that the children need headsets to go with their laptops so that they can hear her properly. But you know what? I talked to some friends, and we're donating 60 headsets tomorrow.
Oh, that's a great thing. So what's going on in Orange, our school district? Okay, the district is going virtually until I believe October 2nd. Until they make then they'll reassess what's happening with the plan. The kids in each of the schools are being offered grab and go breakfast and lunch. Okay, so that's being provided by the school district. So the kids are trying to do the best they could, but as I go back and say, each school district is different. Like, I respect your is it Michael? I respect your viewpoint as far as the tax dollars. How are their parents getting it? What are they getting worse? How much money are they getting worse from their tax dollars? But due to this pandemic, it's like like in Orange here, the school district just got awarded some big money as far as the PPE when the students do come back into the classroom 2 days a week. In Orange. So that's some of my perspective that I've heard, at a recent board meeting through Zoom and conversation. That's what I can't put any input on the other school districts, like in Camden, New Jersey, like benches. Each district has a concern and needs. You know what I mean? But based on our needs, the inner city schools should get most of the money. Because this is as far as Chromebooks, like today in Orange, the Orange Preparatory Academy is having set time of each of the schools. They're going to be giving out their their books to the students, supplies, whatever the kids need.
See, and that's the whole issue. And Diane touched on it very eloquently yesterday. One of the things that we keep going down that rabbit hole of what they had and the disadvantages that we have. And in terms of budget, the coronavirus has even exposed that. It exposes all of our faults that have happened wrong that we have set up. Let me finish, please. Let me finish. It exposed everything wrong. What I'm saying is that's what we had, and it's gone. What we have right now is an opportunity to say that I can step up for my child and make sure that they're learning. What we have is an opportunity that put teachers front and center to make sure that they are teaching. We don't have to worry about them clothing and all that other crazy stuff. We don't have to worry about the tax disadvantages because they have computers. What we have right now is a point where we can show that black children are intelligent and that they can learn with a long push from their parents and their teachers, which is basically what I'm saying. Let us stop focusing and crying about what we don't have. We're going to continue to not have that until people get off their lazy butts and start voting these people out. What we need to focus on is what's right here in our face. The opportunities that we need to seize and capitalize on to prove to them that we can be counted.
Yes, but you can't ignore the environment.
That's exactly right. You know what, Mike?
I'm listening to you. And you're saying, we can't be concerned with what's going on in our environment. We just got to show them that we can learn. And the environment is not suitable for that.
That's not what I'm saying. You missed my whole point. That's not what I'm saying. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that right now our primary focus should be on making sure that our children are well educated, and the bulk of that responsibility relies on the parents. If they don't forget, it's great that they gave classes for the teachers. Now we need to get classes for the parents too. Now we need to get these parents involved in these children's lives. That is the strongest way that we can make a change. Now, in terms of fighting about our budget, that's our job as parents. In terms of changing the school board, that's our job as parents. As terms of keeping teachers accountable, that's our job as parents. We need to do our job.
Right.
Well, I think it goes back to not just the parents, but the parent figures, guardians, adults in the world. We have failed our kids. We have failed a generation, and if we don't learn quickly and adapt quickly to what's happening now, we will destroy another 2 or 3 generations. I mean, we talked about this years ago, and Kevin Jenkins always said it. We need to blow up the system. It is a death trap that we're sending our kids to. And finally, the system is being blown up, and people are still resisting. They want to go back to what was. They don't understand that what was did not work for our kids. And I say it all the time, even in the school system in Hillside. If you aren't putting out Stanford graduates and Harvard graduates and Princeton graduates and Howard graduates and Morehouse men, you ain't putting out no damn students.
Amen. Amen.
If they can't compete, then there's going to be a problem, not just for us in our communities where we're at. It's as a whole for the entire world is going to be affected. People look to the United States as being the leaders and everything. We're falling behind because of COVID, because we have a leader that's an idiot, of course, but more so because of us in our communities, because we have failed our kids in the educational system. That was the reason why the charter schools was able to thrive, because it solved the problem, Eric. But it's still failing our kids as a whole, because parents are not being accountable. They're still trying to pass the buck off. It's not their kids.
Diane, don't take this personal, but I love you. that was perfect.
That wasn't personal, but that was emotional.
Yeah.
The big question is this: going forward, Diane, what do we do as far as the kids' emotional stress at home when the parent is not at home and they're doing virtual learning? Now, I don't know much about virtual learning, okay, because that wasn't I went to school back in the day, in the 90s, so I don't know anything about that. But do we talk about having conversation with among our elected leaders and our school district leaders that when the kids are in the virtual learning, the emotional stress they have, either not having a computer, that's why these school districts are offering these Chromebooks. My understanding is some of these Chromebooks are slow, and they can use their own personal computers. What do we do as far as getting them some type of recreational, as far as after school and with their peers? You know what I mean? Because eventually the school districts will open to hybrid learning and in person for two days out of the week, and you're gonna be gathering with their peers.
So to cover a couple of things that you just said, and I'm going to use my daughter as an example. In her school, and she's in administration, what they had a couple of weeks ago, and they're doing it like once quarterly, is having a social worker come in to have workshops specifically virtually for the parents, to help the parents, because this is a big thing for parents to be able to adjust to. You have teachers, of course, as well as parents who are not computer literate, who may just, may not use a computer on their job. So that's not an everyday thing for them. Teaching them how to sign in, giving them resources, teaching them how to decompress, how to be less stressed. doing these things. There's also things that we have to look at, and we should use the model of homeschooling to help us, because this has already been done. See, homeschooling is nothing new. What teachers and parents are doing now is not homeschooling, it's virtual learning. Homeschooling is when a parent is actually educating the kids themselves. Now, virtual learning, they're just assisting them to make sure that they're online, make sure that they have all the resources that they need. It's a little different. They're not really teaching them. But we should look towards the homeschooling aspect as to what do they do. In homeschooling, they have pods of groups of kids that get together and do extracurricular activities. Sometimes it's within the community and they go back to the school systems and do it. Sometimes it's their separate groups. Because of COVID, I think people need to start thinking outside of the box, especially in our community, to do things that we don't always have to be grouped up into doing, like Pop Warner or baseball. Baseball, for one, you can do, everybody's not sitting amongst and up under each other. They don't have to participate in the sport. Going towards tennis, doing golf, the other things that you can do, extra activities. Cross-country running. You don't have to be under other people. Track events and stuff like that. So there.
So when I was in, after I'll let you finish, and I'm going to share something with you guys as far as the football aspect of it.
Go ahead. Mm-hmm.
With the NJSIA has complied in it, because I'm involved with our football program here in Orange. We went through the NJSIA, which is the New Jersey Scholastic Athletic Association, okay, has done phases of phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, okay. Right now, the teams or schools are in a hiatus session right now because the kids are in school, okay. And they're gonna resume practices on September 14th, all schools in New Jersey. What the schools in New Jersey did, as far as the football teams, okay, they went through a session of phase 1, phase 2, and phase 3. Phase 3 is I think it's it went from a certain date through August 28th, okay. We ended the summer workouts on August 28th, and on September 14th, the teams will reassemble as far as the practices with helmets and pads and contact, okay? And October 2nd, the season will open up, okay? I believe Hillside is one of the schools that are, each school and each of the conferences, they're going to be playing in-conference games, okay? And that's going to be taking place on October 2nd. And we're only going to, each team, I believe, 6 to 8 games. I believe it's in conference. Okay, the distance is not too far, but 3 games away, 3 games home. That's what we're doing in Orange.
Right.
So, as far as I don't know what as far as testing, you know what I mean. But I can tell you through the NJSIA, we'll have fans in the stands in Orange. The school district is evaluating conversation of having 25% capacity in our stands. That requires a mask, social distancing, and not everybody 6 feet apart from each other as far as attending the games. So I think that's a good call by our governor. That was a committee was assessed through the NJSIA Association task force, and that task force gave recommendations to Governor Murphy as far as getting fans in the stands as far as football. Now the football Giants and Jets, the Jets are going to open their season up in Buffalo with no fan capacity. Some of the teams in the NFL are going to be having fans, such as some of the Kansas City Chiefs, Denver Broncos, limited fans, and that's just to bring the morale of sports in our high school. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Cheering momentum.
Yeah.
And also we're keeping in Orange, we're keeping our students safe as far as the 6 feet distance, social distancing, and a mask would have to be we're inside our stadium.
Well, I think that's great. It will, and I think also in regards to social services and stuff, more of the educational institutions need to start instituting more social work.
Actually, because I feel that in athletics, I think Governor Murphy set the standard when he did the Last Chance World Series when they had fans in the stands and there was social distancing. Social distance required, and also a mask. So there was no hitches on that, and no problems as far as the COVID cases. So I think he's setting a precedent as far as the sports, and I commend him because it's a tough thing, and we all have to understand that our athletes are also students number one first before they get on the field and perform.
Absolutely, and they need an outlet because it's like keeping a child in the house all day, not being able to go out and socialize is a problem, and it affects them emotionally. So there has to be some type of recourse for them to be able to get out safely to interact, as well as there should be something for those kids who can't get out or parents are too concerned for them to come out to have some type of socialization and counseling, because everybody's going to have PTSD after this. I mean, there are so many different stress levels that people are going through. Just the daily stress of working from home, not going.
Even adults go through stress level during the COVID-19.
Everybody's level of stress and frustration since March, since they started the actual shutdown, has elevated. And Diane is absolutely right. There are studies right now that people are experiencing PTSD because of it. But just like we experienced PTSD because of 9/11 and Pearl Harbor and everything else, we have to now work on overcoming and bettering our situation.
Right, but the difference with 9/11, there were only a few thousand people plus their family members that are affected. We're talking about the whole entire world now.
So does anybody know what tomorrow is going to be another anniversary of 9/11? Is New Jersey going to honor that, or what is New Jersey officials going to plan to do with the 9/11 ceremonies up in New York?
Oh, that's very interesting. I don't know.
I don't know, and it's interesting that y'all even mentioned that because I didn't realize tomorrow was 9/11. But okay.
Yeah, and if you get some information, please post it on the link.
Yeah, I will. But yeah, so Americans have been through a lot. I mean, from 400 years of slavery to the crap we're going through now. I mean, does it ever get better? I mean, do we ever get to see the light? There's a lot going on, but I think it's some of it is caused by ourselves.
Well, you know what, Diane? We get to see the light, but it's a train that's headed our way.
Oh God, here comes the pessimism.
I'm just telling 2053 zero wealth. Listen 2053 zero wealth in the black community. That's a headlight to the train that's heading toward us.
I'm even a black part. I don't want to be black anymore. It's too damn hard.
Yo, listen. Here's a question I want to ask.
God never gives you anything more than you can.
Look, can you guys see my shirt? Wait a minute. Can you see my shirt? Hold on.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. Can you see it now?
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Right. So I want to know what happened to this guy. Why are people not talking about him anymore? Right. So in the painting the Black Lives Matter on the streets and the signs on the, that rename the streets and stuff. At the beginning of this thing, there was this guy, Colin Kaepernick.
Yep.
Right? You understand? Like, so, huh?
So I'm glad, Eric, you brought that point up because the commissioner of the NFL recently said out and open that he should have listened to Colin Kaepernick.
Yeah, well, we all should have. Well, those who didn't, right?
He's also nominated for the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
And he's also on the Madden 21 game also.
Yeah, but so here's the question I have, right? Ready? Black Lives Matter. How many black folks gonna tune into the football games? The teams that blackballed Colin Kaepernick. How many black folks? See, this, Diane, you understand what I'm saying to you? So the light at the end of the tunnel is the train that's running us over. So how many black folk who are out there actively painting Black Lives Matter, who are actively protesting Black Lives Matter, who are actively putting up signs, Black Lives Matter on streets? How many of those people would be tuning in to watch the games of football players whose teams are owned by owners who took part and still take part in colluding to take away that man's livelihood because he stood up for us? See, when I read, but let me finish. When I read the what was it, the Death of a King, right? And it talked about how black folk abandoned Dr. King. Do you see? And so when you say to me, Diane, you want to give up your black card, I'm in front of the line. I wouldn't give mine up. I don't understand it. Right? But where's this guy? Where is he? Who's talking about him? Go ahead, caller.
Hey, let me ask you a question. What happened to Colin Kaepernick is the same thing that happened to all abolitionists. And
Yes.
who try to persuade people in there think that their thinking is wrong. And they just, I mean, from now, we're in an age where the union and the were in collusion and left him out and left him. But it's what happened to Kaepernick is why they don't teach the real abolitionist movement or about abolitionists in this country, because it's a prime example of what's happened to all abolitionists.
Yeah.
And I just want to add that. I'm moving around. I don't want to.
Thanks.
I have to agree with him. What happened to Colin Kaepernick is the reason we have slave whisperers and Negro catchers. Because they don't want to experience the backlash of standing up for what's right.
Right.
They don't want to go through the pain. They don't want to go through the social media ridicule. And if we're going to keep this real, what happened to Colin Kaepernick, it started a movement, and then Donald Trump forced the NFL owners to cut that crap out.
Well, speaking to Donald Trump with the last 5 minutes, I read, and Farrakhan actually pulled my coattail to this. Apparently in California, they want to steer the curriculum in the direction of teaching the 1619 Project. And according to everything that I read, including the tweet that Trump put out that Farrakhan sent to me, Trump is threatening that if they do move in that direction, that he is going to withhold federal funding from the school system. So,
Oh, man.
so
Well,
now,
see,
so my thing is this, right? So, in this respect, and only in this one, see, because like I said to you, I move to protect my community, and I vote in my best interest. And so to the extent that Donald Trump is attacking, because I talked about this, right, that you have to go into these schools, you have to eradicate the sickness in the school by pulling all of those books out. And so if you have in California, they're talking about doing that to some extent. And you have Donald Trump step, because the comment that he made, and I don't know if you saw it, Vincent, he said something like, I'm paraphrasing, he's saying that's not the history that we grew up with. Right? Now, he's 100% right.
That's not the history that he grew up with.
No, it's not the history that I grew up with either, 1619. I grew up with the same false history that everybody else grew up with. Right? And so what I'm saying is this. He's 100% right. It's not the history, which is why we have the dilemma that we have now. And so for him to now say, like, I understand this stuff to be true, because he's not denying it. He's simply saying, I don't want it to be taught. Because it goes against the America that I want to promote. You see? And so now, you know, I still think that Biden is a piece of shit, right? And I won't be voting for him, but I'll be actively now moving against Donald J. Trump.
Well, I'm glad that you took the last 5 minutes to strategically talk about Donald J. Trump.
And we have 2 minutes left.
I gave you 2 minutes.
But the 2-minute response is this. Donald J. Trump cannot stop funding because the funding has been placed and it's already been put into motion. So, according to the laws of Congress, he cannot hold or stop, which has been made prevalent in the impeachment. So, he can threaten, but it is an empty shirt. It is just a threat. Now, the next thing, and the other issue...
But I don't know that the threat...
Well, no, please. I only got a minute and 30 seconds.
No, but I'm gonna spot you another...
Please, Eric,
but I'm gonna spot you 30 more seconds. But the threat itself, right, feeds into this culture. Now, go ahead. You got 30 more seconds.
The threat itself has been the culture. It's always been the culture. We've always been under threat and prosecution. We've always been under the microscope. We've always dealt with this unequal or unfair justice. That's nothing new to us. Now it's our time to stand up and overcome it. That's the whole issue that we should deal with.
We shall overcome.
We may consider. So there are some who may consider buying a piece of trash. Yes. And I'm not going to go into your opinion of it. But as people are singing now, we shall overcome in the background. I will say in closing that Black America, we should unite together and stand above and stand against our common enemy. We should unite together for our justice and equality, because that mountaintop is not going to be alone. We will all get there someday. Let's get there with the faithful saying that we have done what we could to make changes, to make life better for our children, to make things better for ourselves, to make better the level playing field, that we may gain that economic equality, gain the political power to back us up, that we may once again say that we have overcome. When we get there, on the mountaintop, I want to hear the Lord say to us, well done, thy good and faithful servants.
The words of Vincent Squire are not necessarily the words and the beliefs of everyone.
On that note, I'd like to say this. On that note, I'd like to say this. Let us overcome this adversity together. Let us change their lives and the direction and the trajectory that they have planned for our children. Let us stand up and fight. Let us not worry about the backlash, but keep moving forward. Let us continue to wash our hands. Wear our masks now. Now that we know for a fact, with 100% certainty, that this is an airborne virus, and wearing a mask is the safest way that we can actually move about. I'm Vincent Squire, on behalf of Eric Dawson and Diana Queen of Media. We'd like to say, if it's God's will, we'll be back again tomorrow to express our views and opinions, to educate and enlighten them. God bless and be safe.